Voyagers Log, week 43, day 293. The time is 1:57 p.m. Let us begin. Howdy, I am your host, Tony Drake, and with me is my best pal until death and co-host, Ahmed.
Howdy.
How you doing, Ahmed?
Pretty good.
Having a good day?
Yeah. How are
Great.
you?
Oh, I'm peachy. And welcome to Voyagers Path. It has been a while, and we've had time to do a little revamp,
Right.
change our trajectory. For those of you who are first-timers, we are a podcast where we focus on progressing in life through development, or through self-development, exercising discipline, and cultivating wisdom.
Right.
Today, we're giving an update about the channel and covering some things we touched on in the past and kind of explaining them in a much briefer format.
Right.
So changes aren't super long. We are going to be doing shorter shows, no longer an hour.
Nope.
We're going to be doing 20, 30 minutes-ish in that realm,
Yeah.
which is hopefully going to be easy to digest and much easier for us to come up with content and just kind of keep it fluid. Because I guess I painted myself in a corner when we just kept doing the hour-long episodes, and it was like, oh, we're at like a 40-minute mark, and I have to...
Well, we didn't have to do
No, we
the
didn't
hour.
have to, but it just, I don't know. It felt almost as if we did. But that's partly me. We are now looking at, of course, we've already had two guests on the show, which was my father and my mom, which, they're great people. I'm not trying to say they're not, but they're not like...
Where are you getting
Woo! These folks. I mean, they're cool. They're cool, but the type of guest that we're looking to have on now, which is why I'm making this point, is if you are a viewer and you know someone who fits this category, please, if they are comfortable or if you're comfortable, reach out. We're trying to focus on guests who are, in lack of a better term, acquainted with death, meaning that they are terminally ill, a loved one who's terminally ill, a veteran, police officers, people or firefighters, people or doctors and ER, the whole slew of individuals. Why? Well, I feel death is often ignored until it's kind of right in front of you. And that kind of offers a nice facade that that life is kind of never going to end, especially in our age group, where kind of life is just going to go on forever and not a whole lot of consequences.
Right.
It also makes small inconvenient things seem life-ending.
What do you mean?
Well, I listen to Jocko a whole lot, and he's got a pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, we know about your man crush on Jocko.
Well, maybe. So he's got kids, and he said at one point, like, hey, he's a SEAL. He went to Ramadi, seen war, seen death, killed individuals probably with his bare hands or his just stare.
Okay, we get it, Chuck Norris.
And he was like, I came back from Ramadi, and my daughter was crying about like a bad day she had at school. And it's like some homework assignment or like some bullies or, something that happens when you're like a fourth grader in school. Right. And he was like, I went to war.
Oh God.
He didn't actually say that. In his head, he was like, this is like he was doing a little bit, just to sell, because he's also a comedian. But he was just trying to sell the whole deal that
he can do everything, I guess.
He can do. I wish you were like Jocko.
I'm so glad.
But yeah, he was like, I've seen death, and that's a problem. I have been put in situations where my actions determine if these people will live or die. And you're complaining about school.
I'm sure Calvin has the very similar
he's got
thing
definitely. But the whole thing is like, I'm glad that's your worst problem. That's a good problem to have, because that means I'm doing my job, keeping you safe. If that's your worst problem, we're good. And that's kind of like a reality check. But that's what I mean by small inconvenient things.
First world problems.
Yeah, especially first world problems. Hey, someone's being a bully to me. Okay, cool.
Okay, well, that's a little bit more serious.
Oh, well.
Like, oh man, I got homework to do and I don't want to. I want to play games.
I want to play some games. But yeah, so it's just, it makes small things big when you're not grateful for being alive. Because when you take it for granted, like I was walking today, and I just got in a good mood. Recently, I've been in a really good mood, and I was like, man, I like my legs. I'm glad I have legs, because some people don't. I've seen a few people now, which is the first time I've seen them. It was just a couple girls with a single leg, and they got crutches. And I was like, I'd never seen it before, just popping up now in my, I guess, my realm of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, shit, glad it got legs. Like, and it's just another thing of being grateful for what you got. And so that's kind of why I wanted to focus on people who are in that, who fit that category, because they're usually more grateful for how they're living, or that the fact they are alive.
Right.
So, and the thing where I would like to do with the podcast is, well, try to look at things differently with a different perspective, and serve this platform can serve as a wake-up call, and so that you can look at life differently before it is too late for you.
Right.
And which, in the next 2 episodes or so, we're going to have a guest on, and he's had open heart surgery. And with open heart surgery, if it goes wrong, you die. And that's, that fits the bill. He is a little different because I'm sure before the surgery he was already kind of where he's at now.
Right.
But still, regardless, facing the fact that you're about to go into the surgery and you may die, you're going to look at things differently, especially coming out of that. So, again, viewers, if you happen to know someone who wants to talk about it, either virtually or here in Dallas, or you or yourself would like to talk about it, just hit us up. We'll talk about where you can find us, either in the description or at the end of the show.
Also, if you just think you have a, someone you know with an interesting story that can help out youth just in general, not necessarily with life or death, but, good lessons to tell us, then definitely let us know.
Always. And yeah, again, so yeah, like, it's not guests that only have experience with death. That's not saying that no one else can come.
The criteria is you almost had to die.
Yeah, you have to go through the gauntlet.
Oh, God.
So that's really it. Those are the main changes. And if anything else comes up, I'll think about it. So, the next segment.
Okay.
Things to take from our previous shows. Those shows are long.
An hour each.
I don't want to say drawn out, but maybe that, I don't know, that seems negative. But again, it's long. So in order for you not to have to go back and listen to all that stuff, we're just going to knock those out, which in reality we could have done a whole lot earlier, but we're here now. We've learned. Lol. So, first one, relationship dartboard. Sweet and simple. The relationship dartboard, it looks like a dartboard. It is a guide for how often, it's a guide for you to see how often you are giving your time, energy, and attention, which is often referred to as T. T-E-A. And
T.
And oh, well, I guess
you did kind of mention everything.
I did, yeah, that's kind of.
But yeah, the dartboard is just, it's supposed to be a guide on how exactly to spend your time, energy, and attention. So, for example, the edge of the dartboard is going to be a coworker that you just say morning, and that's it. Yeah. You don't spend a lot of time, energy, or attention on them. But if your, brother is, doesn't have a ride from school, then that's where you would prioritize
and put
your
your
time, energy, and attention.
If it came down to the crossroad where the coworker or your brother was like, hey, help me out. And if you have if you're in good standing with your brother, I mean, like if he's quite literally.
Yeah. And this is just more to make sure you don't spend your time, energy, and attention, vaguely, but.
Huh, you messed up on the words. Now you know how it is to be me. A good little thing to think about. One day, whenever I was kind of getting back from California and learning from Calvin, my adoptive father, about relationships and like how to actually have a proper one. He gave me a few things, and much like my personality, which I'm trying to fix or work on with him, is that he'll give me a sliver and I'm gone. I'm like, great, I'll take it all. Like, he gives me a couple lessons, ideas, resources, and I'm just darting out of trying to go doing it myself, because that's just kind of how I grew up, my independence. And it's like, you're good, stop talking, I'm going to go do this now by myself.
You should shut up. I got this.
And because of that, I got into a relationship with Jennifer, that like 20-something-year-old chick. I've mentioned to her, and okay, anyways.
I mean, it's hard to tell.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're trying to imply.
I'm saying you don't have exactly the best record for dating.
Anyway, so he asked me an important question, which has stuck with me, and it's a really good way to gauge kind of how you're organizing your dartboard and actually applying, because you can have it organized. Because I had mine organized. I had mine typed out on a computer and printed out.
We showed it.
Yeah, and he still asked me this question, and I realized I wasn't actually
Applying it.
right. And the question was, how often are you talking to Ahmed versus this girl Jennifer? And I knew this girl Jennifer for maybe maybe like over half a year, because we've been working together for we were working together for a long
Right.
time. And I've known you since
Junior high?
Yeah, junior high. I'm not sure how old I was.
8th grade?
Yeah, it's 8th grade.
13, 14.
Yeah. And so the answer was a whole lot more than you. I was
Oh,
talking
yeah.
to her a whole lot more than you. And I was calling her at, I don't know, from like 1 staying up till 5. We're just talking. And
1 a.m. to 5 a.m.?
Yeah, man. Well, whenever you work and you get off at like
Relationships.
12. Anyway, so yeah, so I was like, obviously there's no balance there. And I was not applying it properly.
I'm glad you understood that. In fact, kind of reminds me, we'll get into relationships later,
Yeah.
like on how to, multitask, still hanging out with your friends and
The babe.
your significant other. But I'm going to be honest, if you called me at 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. just to talk, I'd be pretty mad at you.
Oh no, it's like you and I. We're like, that's the thing with friendships, because I don't have many friends. I have less than 10, which is fine by me.
I'm joking.
And I mean, we talk often.
Yeah.
But you
As
and
long
I,
as you don't,
we can go,
neglect me.
Yeah, we can go a long time without talking, and that's just, you get busy, I get busy, and then we meet up in the middle sometime.
But it's a different story when you're hanging out with someone that you barely know, that you don't think it's going to last, that, you're not going to hang out with afterwards. And then meanwhile, the most important person or the most important people in your life are being neglected from your time, energy, and attention.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of the dartboard.
Yeah. And I think, let me make sure. Yeah. So another thing to keep in mind with it as well is that your decisions as an independent being have the most influence in your life, which also plays a part with accountability, which I need to write that down because I didn't put that as a bullet point. But we will talk a little bit about accountability. But
we have in the past, too.
Yeah, we have in the past, but which is exactly why we're doing this little bit here. But being accountable for your actions and choices. If you keep like someone in your life and they are not a person you should be keeping in your life, you don't have anyone to blame except for yourself because you've kept them in your life. And another thing that kind of goes with that is the closer to the center a person is in your life, the more influence you grant them in your life. I was talking to my dad yesterday, just kind of going over this, and I originally said grant over your life, and the whole deal with that is that mentally, where you should be standing is if you're already default thinking that these people have power over your life, you're one, being a victim, and you've just, what's the word, like folded all of your not folded, given up. You're looking at me weird.
Giving up what?
All your power. All of your say-so and power and tea and everything.
No control.
Yeah, you've just given it up, and you've now fallen down, and you're taking the victim mentality when you're wording it as over. And so when we're thinking about it, and we do this simple one-word switch from over to in your life implies that you actually have control over it, which you do. You have total control over what's going on in your life. So
that is how English works.
Damn. Okay. I'm just trying to help out the young
squirts.
No,
it's a good message.
Damn you. Okay. The next one.
Right.
Relationships can be salvaged, and that's something we learned when I talked to my mom.
Right.
Long story short, parents got divorced when I was in 5th grade. I lived with my mom for another year or two, and then I moved in with my biological dad. And then I hadn't talked to my mom for
years.
Very
long
several
time.
years. Yeah, it was just no communication. And so that's kind of the underlying message with that interview. There's a lot that I learned about her. Like she had 3 or 4 miscarriages, and that was heartbreaking to hear. I was like, I was not doing my part as a son during that time, which the blame does fall on me because I could have been better and I could have been more aware. But at the same time, when you're a young kid and you're being manipulated the way that I was, there's a point in time where accountability shifts from the parent, or I guess the guardian,
to you,
to me, and so I was still in that liminal space to where I was kind of still under authority of my biological father. So that's a conversation for another day.
Right.
Any hoodles. The main thing for that is that
Relationships.
that question should serve as a reminder that people deserve forgiveness and you can always begin again. The question of can relationships be salvaged?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is what you make it. I found that the answer is yes. But of course, everything, I just want to say yes for everybody, but the fact by salvaging, you have to kind of define what salvaging means.
Mm-hmm.
What does salvaging, whenever you hear salvage, what are you thinking about?
It's like trash that you can make use of it again.
A little harsh, man.
Well, that doesn't. What am I relating it to?
I was just wondering.
Recycling is salvaging,
yeah,
isn't it?
I was wondering what was
Uh-huh.
going on in that.
Just because you applied it to relationships doesn't mean it's harsh.
Yeah.
What is a piece of paper gonna like feel bad that I'm salvaging it for?
No, because the paper's stupid.
Okay.
But the kind of thing that I realized yesterday when going over this was that a salvaged relationship does not necessarily mean the relationship still has to exist, that there has to be communication both ways. Part of this comes from some insight that I got from reading this book, The Book of Forgiving by Desmond Tutu and Pho. It's spelled M-P-H-O. I'm going to pronounce it Pho, but I'm terribly sorry.
Show the book to the camera.
Let me it's hard to see it, man. I don't know.
They're both Tutu.
What if I do? I'm going to stop. No,
oh my God.
I'm gonna stop. Sorry. Trying to be a little extra. But it's a great book about forgiveness. And part of the idea is that forgiveness offers a way to salvage relationships, or in other words, mend your wounds.
Right.
A nice little saying is that pain ends, it begins and ends with you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're causing pain on someone, it's because you are kind of releasing your own inner pain and you're putting it out towards somebody else. Forgiveness, what that offers is a beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It begins, or at least it creates a foundation for your inner healing. And from there, in my case with my mother, I was able to build a relationship. So now I've seen her every single time for my birthday. I call her often. She makes me cheesecake, which is smacking. But in the case with my biological father, we have not mended our relationship. Well, we don't talk. My biological dad,
right.
We just don't talk. We haven't talked since 2018, and that's not going to change. And I have forgiven him. I have mended my own wounds. I have something. I'm just going to read off of what I have here. You have to evaluate the wreckage, evaluate the situation, the relationship, and then ask yourself, does this relationship need to be salvaged? Does this relationship need to continue? Do I need to continue talking to this person, interacting with this person, what have you?
Mm-hmm.
I think at the very least, it needs to be mended. And I'm using mended as a term to like cauterize the wound. You heal yourself, you stop you stop it from getting infected, and you can begin the healing process when you mend a wound. Mending, you could think of, it means to forgive the other person, even if they never know. In the case that I did with my biological dad, as I've forgiven him and just kind of moved on. I've learned from that and moved on, and now that wound is healed, and I've done with that chapter. I've locked and closed the door. Not going to open it again. So it's not going to be salvaged. But in the case of my mom, I mended my wounds. I unlocked that door and tried to communicate with her, and now that relationship has been salvaged. So when it comes down to the big question, should I continue this relationship or not? Does it need to be salvaged? You decide. And then at the bottom line, it needs to be mended. You need to heal, regardless of yes or no.
Basically, for everyone else, it's fine.
For all the smooth brains out there.
Okay. It's fine if you don't, go back to the way things used to be, but at least resolve the issue that happened from it. If the person that you stopped having a relationship with, whether it's family, friends, a significant other, did something to you, just because you don't have to go back with them, but you do have to resolve the issue of, okay, they, messed with me, but now I've moved on. I'm not going to hold them against anything. I'm just going to stop focusing on them and then move on. Or if they changed, or if you changed, for example, like with you and your mother, then it's up to you whether you think it's appropriate in your situation or whether you don't think. It's definitely up to you.
Yeah, I trying to find what I know I have this somewhere.
In your paper?
Yep. I burned a lot of bridges in my past, and just to tie this all back to tea,
Yes.
it also will dictate your tea, depending on what you were saying earlier.
Right.
You should be trying to determine if you should salvage relationships or not, because that'll help you determine what you're doing with your time, energy, and attention, which are the most valuable resources you can have because you'll never get them back. But I've burned many bridges in my past,
Right.
with all my previous friends in high school, and I thought to myself, okay, what would I do one day if they, if I interact with them again, if I run into them, because I'm still living in the same town.
Yeah.
It's not a huge town. Well, no, it's kind of, I don't know. But regardless, the two things I would do is listen to them, because like you said, people can change.
Right.
And one might be a youth pastor now and be like, hey man, I'm sorry for all the stuff that I
was
did.
wild
I
back
was
then.
wildin', bro. But that's why I got to listen. But the second,
Right.
got to trust my gut. Got to go with the gut. I'm not gonna try and bail. I did that once. I made eye contact with I was working at a store.
Right.
And it's a really tiny store.
Right.
And there's it's tiny. And so when
Like
someone,
two coworkers or something like that?
no, well, like you would have two coworkers on like a weekday. On weekends, no. It's weekends.
Like you'd
pretty
step
busy.
into the store and see everyone?
Just about. It's a straight shot. It's just a deep store. It's not a wide store. And they have like a storage closet and whatnot. But this guy like lost a lot of weight and like had a new haircut and whatnot. And they turned around and we made eye contact and I was like, okay, going away, gonna go in the storage closet. Which is storage closet, like it's the exit to the building. You can go to the bathroom and then exit the building. But I was like, I'm just gonna stay here.
Goodbye.
Yeah. And so, which I don't think I should have done.
No.
Well, no, I think the reason why I did it in that situation is because I was at work and I was like, I don't want to bring, because there's that job had a lot of drama already.
Oh,
I was like, I'm not going to add
the
to
Crystal
this.
Shop?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to add to it. Now if I encountered him in the wild again, I would probably see, I would just see what happens.
Hear him out, yeah.
Listen
hey, man,
and trust my gut. We're making good time, man. Impressed.
We are.
So next bit.
Mm-hmm.
Harness your potential. That was when we discussed. That was when we discussed that topic with my dad when we interviewed him. His overall message. My gosh, his overall message. Know what you're doing and why. Do today. He had a quote. Do today what others won't do, so you can have tomorrow what others won't have. I forgot to ask him where he got the quote from, but you can go back there and watch it. It's like the last 5 minutes he says that.
In our interview with him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty straightforward quote. And he was mainly meaning to me that, hey, I'm taking the steps now in my 20s to make sure that I'll profit in my later 20s, early 30s. Hopefully, it's the goal.
It's like better to start getting in shape now and continue to stay in shape than when you're overweight and trying to lose shape, because that's significantly harder.
Oh, significantly. It's
I've been in both roads. It sucks.
Yeah, man. Being in wrestling, it's easier to be underweight and then add some, or like maintain,
or like be somewhat unhealthy but then continue to stay healthy, or be
versus
30 over
and then have
having
to cut.
Yeah.
Have to run in 3 pairs of sweats with your pickle juice and spit bottle.
Yeah.
And
Quarantine was not. I was not good on my body.
But just 3 little things there. Find your peers, find your mentors, find your purpose.
Right.
That's a nice takeaway from that. You got to find people who are like-minded like you, who have the same goal, direction, and purpose, because you guys will just help
each other,
feed the energy off of each other, be very symbiotic. Find your mentors, find people who have done what you're trying to do, and ask them for help, ask them for advice, ask them for their time, and appreciate their time. And then find your purpose, which I guess I should have put at the beginning, but got to have a purpose in order to move.
Right.
And also put in the time to learn from your mistakes or work at what you love doing,
Mhm.
and then heal. I just put that together. It's like a little what's that? Live, laugh, love.
Love yourself.
Love
Yeah.
yourself.
Mhm.
Go, girl. Last bit. Family is what you make it. And there's a nice little quote.
Oh.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That's the full quote. And what that means is that, one, it supports the family is what you make it, but the
Right.
bonds and connections you have with the family you make, your friends that you choose to have close, is stronger than the actual family you have if it needs to be and if you choose to have it that way, like
It
myself.
can be. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Depends
You
on
have
who
a-
your family or friends are.
Exactly. There's exceptions exist, people. Nothing's black and white,
Mhm.
unless you're colorblind or a dog.
Aren't you colorblind?
Yeah, but it's like dyslexia.
What?
So
All right, let's just move on.
with that, I want to also hit on real quick with our last few minutes here.
Last
if
minute.
you could, well, I mean, it's flexible. Like
Sure,
the
yeah,
30-minute
yeah.
mark is.
Anyway,
Any hoodles. If you could bring up the Voyagers Path logo,
you could do that. Never mind.
I wanted to explain and hit real quick what these symbols mean because I never did it before. So, they're Hebrew symbols,
Right.
and they're letters, and they each have their own kind of meaning.
Uh-huh.
And so the center is Aleph, which is unity. South is Tav, which is truth. East is Teth, which is good judgment. And west is Lamed, which is to learn. And just a little, it's not slogan, but we must voyage inwards in order to resolve our turmoil and discover our true north, which is where Voyagers Path is. True north, which is, just true north. Can't think. I'm just digging a hole here. I'm just gonna
What?
keep saying true north. Like there's a meaning to true north, and
Your
it's-
end destination for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, and it's the way.
Yes.
It's because that's
the way.
it is it. And you can put that down, Brett. Appreciate it. And so with Voyagers Path,
Right.
taking in those 4 core principles, that is going to help you achieve in life what others cannot.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with thinking inwards. And I'm going to start a little tagline, voyage inwards.
Okay.
I'm going to have that in a little during it in the post.
Like reading Rainbow.
Yeah, not actually, but okay. So now we're going to go to a little ending here to tease our little next episode. We will be introducing a new topic, a new concept that I've come up with and discussed briefly with Ahmed. He doesn't know a whole lot about it. And maybe
Something about nuts.
we may get to some questions. So stay tuned. We'll see you next week. And whoever you are and wherever you are,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that you stay frosty, stay loved, and we'll see you next time. And I guess I should have said this before. I forgot to do the song. I'll put that at the end for the next one.
Okay.
That little bit, I'll put it, not the song, but I say the song, but I'm saying that whole little bit will be the very last thing I say.
Mm-hmm.
Lessons learned. So
Do you
the
have
song.
a song for the next one?
Well, I have both songs. So
Okay.
the song for this episode, the little song recommendation, which if you go to Spotify and search up Voyagers Path, you will see a playlist with 3 songs or so,
Nice.
and that's where we're starting. So the next one will be...
So what's the song?
Next one is called Comfort by Julia Jacklin in Aussie. I heard one of her songs called When the Family Flies In, which is like a nice, sad song from my favorite show, Mr. In Between.
Oh, here we go.
Favorite show.
Anyway.
Favorite show. But I was listening to her album, and it is a breakup song,
Right.
but the message is pretty decent. It's kind of saying that I'll be fine, I'll be all right, I'll be just peachy when this is all over in the future, which is
It's a good
it's
message.
great. You don't have to be going through a breakup to listen to breakup songs.
If you're just going through a hard time, it'll get better.
You might want to cry.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Whoa.
What?
The very
There's
last thing.
more?
There's yeah.
You gotta wrap this
Forgive
up.
me. Okay, this is the outro now. This is
Okay.
the outro. I have to forgive me, folks. The first time we're doing this, so I have to
Anyway.
now fix this. To future and health, good fortune and wealth, to discipline and sacrifice, to lessons that last for life, to live by honor and for glory. Death will come. Be extraordinary. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
ladies
much.
and germs. We'll see you next time.
All right. Catch you later.